Dad vanishes, 3 days later Mom finds table for two. It felt like being in the middle of a horror movie. She crept forward, every crunch of the pine needle floor threatening to give away her position. It had been days since she had seen the troubling message. Now, she was within reach of the truth, one that would upend her entire life. Sharon Campbell pulled up the zippers on her twins' jackets and kissed them on the forehead. Being a parent might have been exhausting, especially when juggling a full-time job, but it was totally worth it. The mad dash of family life was made a little easier with her husband by her side. The tech world kept him busy, but he tried to have quality time, especially after long stretches at the office when a difficult project demanded him time. Sharon did her best to stay connected to him through her phone. Lately, however, things had been more stressful than normal, and it seeped into every part of their lives. The normal seesaw of stress versus bonding had been lopsided. Her husband was working crazy hours and seemed more irritable. She even went as far as taking the kids to the mall for a few hours in the evening so he could relax in quiet. It didn't take long until that didn't even work. Then, he suggested something she would never have expected. But Sharon was tired too, and neither of them had the luxury of just quitting on their responsibilities. So, when he suggested taking a couple days out at their old cabin, she couldn't help but stare. The place was old and needed a huge makeover to be comfortable. His next suggestion sealed the deal. He said that he would go out and work on the cabin so the family could use it for the coming summer. It seemed like a good idea. But she would soon find out it was all a horrible ruse. It started with a couple messages going unanswered. His late responses said he was just busy with construction. Then, all of a sudden, the messages stopped. Under normal circumstances, she wouldn't have given it a second thought. But he was out there in the middle of the woods with no one to help him if something went wrong. Images of him injured in the dark forest made her heart go into overdrive. There was no question as to what she needed to do next. Sharon grabbed the car keys, dropped off the twins with her sister, and raced out to the cabin. The long, overgrown driveway felt so creepy even during the day. But as she reached the cabin, she noticed something strange. There was no car and no sign that the cabin had been touched. Sharon gripped her keys and walked the perimeter. Suddenly, she spotted a blotch of white. Her heart pounded like a jackhammer and her palms turned sweaty. What was going on? There were no sounds. She walked slowly, keeping close to the bushes just in case. Sharon pulled out her phone, ready to dial 911. But when a clearing opened before her, she couldn't believe her eyes. In the middle of the forest was a table and two chairs. The white she had seen was from a tablecloth. It was a table setting for two. The leftovers of cheese, crackers, and fruit lay scattered across beautiful plates and a silver-tiered dessert stand. The worst part was the champagne glasses, half full and one with lipstick stains. Cher stood before the abandoned meal, her mind screaming with every worst-case scenario. She raised her phone with a trembling hand and snapped a photo. With that, she got into her car and let the tears fall. By the time she got home, her eyes were puffy and throat raw. She knew exactly what to do next. The kids were still with her sister, and were going to stay there for a couple more days. Sharon puttered around the house, not really paying attention to anything. It was all just to burn time until he walked through the door. As soon as she heard the latch click, she took a deep breath. He walked in, holding his cabin backpack, whistling like he didn't have a care in the world. As soon as he walked in the kitchen, however, his expression turned to worry. "What's wrong, babe?" he asked. "Where are the kids?" Sharon held back her angry tears and pulled out the phone. She swiped to the photo, the one that spoke volumes. The blood drained from his face, and he stood motionless before her. He opened his mouth, but she held up her hand to silence him. "I only want to know who and how long. After that, you can take your bag and get out."
Thank you for watching this fantastic story. Please tap one of the two videos on your screen for another amazing Wonder Stories.